everyone, it's really good to be back and to be here talking to you about a highly requested, long overdue topic, which is my designer bag collection. You would have probably noticed that so far I've uploaded 2 videos on my shoe collection but none on my bags, and that was because last year in October I knew I was going to Europe and I knew I was going to buy a couple of more bags, which was my first ever Gucci, my first ever LV, and the notorious Hermes Birkin. I wanted to delay making this video until I knew my bag collection was almost complete. So today is finally the right time to talk about it. I'm actually thinking of adding 3 more bags. So at the end of this, I'm going to show you my wish list and hopefully you'll approve of my choices. I'm going to cover my bags today from the smallest to the largest, and I'm going to rank them all on 4 performance factors out of a score each of 5. So I'll be looking at quality, usability, versatility, and value. In hindsight, I've realized that I've actually scored them very harshly to the point that my highest bag got 16 out of 20. Let's see if you can predict the results. Finally, thank you so much to my subscribers for your kindness, your support, your time. I'm really excited to hit the 2K mark, and this would have never ever happened without all the love from you. My clutch is the smallest item in my collection, but by no means is it a wallflower in terms of design. It's really loud, it's really playful, and I feel uniquely me when I wear this out. McQueen is notorious for his crazy glam statements, and you can grab the clutch with butterflies, jaguar skulls, but it was these roses that I just fell head over heels in love for. I'm pretty certain that for the rest of my life there's never going to be any other clutch which will work that magic on me. I think this is my clutch for life. You gotta love the intricate details, the glossy metal finish, the spongy patent leather which sticks slightly to your fingers because it's so soft. The interior is leather lined too. The only reason for me that I'm not giving it a perfect score is that when I received it from a private seller, there was one tiny little crack, and so it's resulted in one of the roses rocking slightly back and forth in its socket. I've been really lazy with this. We don't have McQueen stores in Sydney, so I've never looked into it for repairs, but one day I will. Otherwise, this is not at all flimsy. You can 100% use this as a Knuckleduster, which for those of you who know is a violent fighting tool. My husband likes to say that if I were a superhero, this would be my crime fighting fashion clutch, and I would imprint roses into the foreheads of baddies. I fell for the Knuckleduster glam statement, but the downside of this is that it's incredibly heavy. You do feel like you're just lugging around a big chunk of metal. You have to keep your hand flexed when you're carrying it, which can be quite tiring. There's one other way you can hold it, but personally for me, I think it looks a bit awkward even though it's more comfortable. Finally, you can only wear this clutch if your hand is clear of rings, and I love wearing rings. So what that usually means is I wear the ring temporarily on my left hand when I'm carrying this. Then when I put this down on the table, I transfer the ring back to my right hand, and then when we leave the venue, I move my ring again so I can hold my clutch. As a clutch, it can only fit your essentials. By that I mean your cards and your cash. Forget your wallet and you won't even be able to fit a large phone. Having to travel that light means that it doesn't work for all scenarios, but that's normal for a clutch. The only reason why I'm giving it a 3 is that this vivid chunk of red doesn't go with all outfits, and sometimes I just have on a loud dress which is already attracting too much attention, so I don't want the two to compete. The other annoying factor for me was that I had to buy this item online years later because it was a collector's item, and online you can never get color matching accurately. So now that I own it, it's a shade darker than what I expected. Ideally, it would be exactly the same vivid red as my Valentino rock studs, but hopefully you can see in this photo that the shades of red are actually different. Maybe I'm too pedantic, but it bothers me. While I do believe that every wardrobe needs a beautiful statement clutch, I have to admit that bedazzled McQueen clutches are very expensive. You could get a Gucci or LV bag that's 4 times the size of this for essentially the same price tag. So for that reason, alongside the fact that it doesn't hold much, it's so heavy that it's not really comfortable, and it's quite loud, so it might not go with all your outfits. It does get limited use in my wardrobe. I was able to get this clutch for 41% less than the recommended retail price. So for that reason, I don't really mind. However, to be honest with you, it just doesn't see the light of day that much. So the total ranking is a little bit sad, especially because this is the first item we're talking about today. I guess it does show that this clutch was a bit of an emotional purchase for me. I loved it from day one. I still love it. I love that it's unique, and I don't regret that. I just need more parties to attend. My smallest bag is the only LV I own, which is a bit ironic because LV is usually the brand you go to if you need to carry a lot. As I mentioned in my last video, which was a dedicated review of this bag, I love how the Alma BB carries all the traditions of the brand without being traditional. You know, it's got the 1930s silhouette, it's got the iconic coated canvas, the leather trim, yet the miniature size just makes it playful and cute. This was sort of the fun, fresh, youthful identity that I wanted, which I previously wasn't sure if I could feel that way with LV. It's early days, but so far I don't have any major issues with the quality. The only reason why it doesn't get a higher score is that compared to my Chanel, my Gucci, my Hermes, I feel like the materials here are much more practical and everyday rather than luxurious. This is an excellently treated vinyl, but I still prefer my leather bags because they're supple and glossy. The leather trim here to me feels a little bit plastic in nature. Otherwise, I think the hardware looks excellent. Compared to my clutch, this bag can actually carry quite a lot, which includes my entire wallet, my massive phone. Later on, I'll do a dedicated video so I can show you this bag-to-bag comparison. The canvas is really light, so it makes the bag the perfect companion that you want to bring everywhere. Plus, I haven't had any accidents yet, but I do believe the canvas is easy to clean. So again, you can take it on all your small errands because it's a bag you don't need a baby. I love that it comes with a detachable shoulder strap because life is so busy, you need that hands-free option. The only reason why I don't give it a perfect score is that the straps are connected to the bag via the handle, so you can see that they pull the handles up unevenly. When this is up against your body, it's a little bit uncomfortable, and I feel like it just needs a bit more design fine-tuning. This is one of my most versatile bags. With the shoulder strap on, it makes the bag more casual, so it goes with jeans, t-shirts, sneakers. When I remove the strap, it looks a lot more elegant, so it's perfect for smart casual. The walnut brown color tone makes it quite handsome, so I can wear it at night with a fancy dress with my fancy heels. Although because it's miniature, it's super cute, so I do like to switch to a classic, slightly larger Chanel, so I'm taking it a bit more seriously. Considering this is a bag you could take anywhere, anytime, and there's 4 different ways of wearing it, you can really stretch your dollar adding it to your collection. Although I do find other leather bags more luxurious, the hardware and canvas should keep your bag looking new for quite a long time. Plus, it's at a lower price range, which makes it an affordable entry point into the core luxury market. It gives you the look and the feel of leather without the leather price tag. The only reason why I'm not giving it a full score is that LV, like Chanel, are known to raise their prices biannually. So I find it really frustrating that the longer you wait to buy one of their bags, the more expensive it is, even though perhaps the quality has been compromised, because a lot of people have been talking about that. Generally, this is a bag that I get my money's worth out of, and I find suitable for my lifestyle because I travel light and I don't have kids. Do you ever feel like life is unfair and you haven't succeeded when you deserve to? That's when I look to Balenciaga's Lady bag, and I feel so sorry for them because in my opinion, I think this is a gorgeous bag design, but it just never became a hit. I love the clean lines, I love the accordion structure, I love the tailored tapered profile, alongside some subtle details such as the mixed palladium and brushed gold hardware. To me, this bag really captures the essence of the modern working woman. This is an excellently made bag. I bought it pre-loved, so it's now 3 years old, but I've never had any issues with it. Once I even dropped the entire bag full with contents upside down on the pavement. But fortunately, from that level of impact, there's only this one tiny little crack. It's lined in rich black leather. Unfortunately, I had a lot of difficulty trying to figure out exactly what type of leather the exterior and the interior are made of, but overall I can say it's the perfect balance between practical everyday and just a touch of luxury. I also have not had any issues with hardware tarnishing. Since the Lady was launched, there have been minor design modifications every season. So the bag I got my hands on has the fixed shoulder straps. My dream Lady has the top handle and shoulder straps are detachable. So that's why I've decided to deduct a few points. Like my Gucci and Chanel, the shoulder strap can be worn 2 ways. This size is perfect on my frame and it's actually quite a light bag even though it's lined in 2 layers of leather. After 5 years of collecting, I'm still missing the perfect camel toned bag. So this was actually my attempt at that. Mustard goes perfectly with neutral color tones, but it really doesn't work with rich colors or some prints. The other reason I'm deducting points is that the shoulder strap can work with smart casual, but it's really not suitable for transitioning into the night and more elegant events. Although one factor I love about this bag is that because it's a relatively unknown bag model and the branding is super duper subtle, then when I'm with friends who are not into fashion or brands and I don't want to be in their face, then this is a great non-offensive bag that everyone can still appreciate because it's very well tailored. As another pre-loved bag, which I managed to score for 35% off recommended retail price, which I do detail in my how to buy designer goods for less video, I definitely do get my money's worth out of this bag. And I love that it's a unique piece which I don't see on everyone's arm. It's simple but sleek and can easily transition from totally casual to smart casual. The seasonal color and the leather shoulder strap, however, do restrict its flexibility across my entire wardrobe and fancy events. So we seem to have a very sad trend that bags I emotionally connect with because they reflect my personal style actually maybe aren't that practical in the end. The score probably wouldn't be so low if this was in my dream brown color tone. So finally, after some obscure items, we are starting to look at the timeless classic pieces which arguably belong in everyone's wardrobe. So here we have the iconic Chanel double flap in lambskin with gold hardware. This was actually my first ever purchase. I saved up and went straight away for one of the cornerstones of luxury bags. And even though I have realized that it's somewhat incompatible for my lifestyle, I can still never deny that it is gorgeous. Every time I hold it, every time I look at it, I'm still glad it's part of my collection. Even though it does make me look like everyone else, which by now you can probably tell is not what I want. Up until now, you've probably found me really harsh with the scores I've been giving out and have been wondering when, if ever, would I give out a full score. So I've been reserving that for this moment. Online, there have been plenty of reports of quality issues with Chanel's new bags as they cut costs, but with my double flap, I have never experienced that. The lambskin is so supple, it's like touching the softest part of your cheek. The interior lambskin lining is super luxurious, and I love all the minute details like the seams and the way they line up. It's just incredible. If you want more information, feel free to check out my dedicated Chanel bag collection review. Okay, this is when I get harsh. In my video on what fits inside my different Chanel bags, I made it pretty clear that this bag can only fit your essentials despite its size. So that means if you want to carry a second wallet, a second phone, or a decent size wedding card, it's not going to fit. And that has really annoyed me over time. It's a heavy bag because of the weight of the solid brass in the chain straps. And even though there are 4 different ways to carry this bag, I always end up keeping this bag very close to my body. Because the lamb skin is so delicate, I feel that I need to baby the material and protect it. So as a result, whenever I take this bag out, I always dedicate part of my brain to worrying about it. Thanks to the 2-way shoulder strap, the Chanel is meant to be quite versatile and present you 4 different ways of carrying it and styling it. Although for me personally, I never wear this bag on a single long shoulder strap because the bag ends up grinding against my hip, which I just feel like is wrong for such delicate material. And I don't wear a crossbody because it ends up being really short, which just doesn't suit me. The other factor is that as much as I love gold hardware, I think it makes this bag look too formal and a bit of overkill for the day, so I use it only for nighttime events. As I mentioned in my dedicated Chanel collection review video, I managed to grab this bag for a bargain price, so I'm extremely happy with what I get out of it for what I paid, even though it can't fit that much and it's fragile. As much as I like to look unique, it's amazing how a timeless, iconic piece instantly elevates your outfit to the next level and gives you a sort of class that is universally recognized. If I had paid the full staggering retail price for this bag, which also increases year after year, I would be a lot more unforgiving of how difficult it can be to use, and I would not give it such a high score. It's a bit of a love-hate relationship, but ultimately, because I was able to get this bag at a bargain price, I can't picture my wardrobe without my double flap. I don't bring it out often, but when I do, it perfects my outfit like nothing else. A big style turning point for me recently was that I began to love prints. So like my LV, my Gucci Blooms Dionysus is the first canvas print bag I've added to my collection. Like LV, I used to find the Gucci print too traditional. You know, something I would picture on middle-aged mums or Italian grandfathers. It didn't excite me. But then that's when this bag entered the scene, and I think with the addition of the Blooms flower print and the superb ironwork details, it's young, fresh, fun. It's completely different from everything else I own. Aside from my vintage Gucci watch, this is my first ever Gucci leather goods, and I'm so impressed with the craftsmanship. As I mentioned in my dedicated review on this bag, I adore the luxurious suede, the texture of the canvas, the ornamental spur. The only reason why I'm not giving it a full score is that it's early days, and I do want to keep an eye on how easy it is to clean and maintain the screen printed flowers and the canvas. In many ways, it's similar to my Chanel double flap, but I can fit a lot more in this bag, and I personally prefer the shorter chain strap. And that's because I usually don't wear my bags at my hip because then I can't protect it. So as a double strap, it's perfect for being handheld or being hung off your arm. As a single chain, I find it the perfect length when I leave it off my shoulder. My only negative with this bag is that I don't like the feeling of imbalance when I leave this bag open. So it tends to kind of flop to one side. I don't have that issue with any of my other designer bags. The other factor is that it is heavy, and so again, this is just typical with high quality materials. As a busy print bag, the Blooms Dionysus can really steal the show, so it's important that your outfit doesn't compete. So for example, here I'm in double flower print, which is probably just excessive. Therefore, I do believe your styling options can be restricted. Because the bag's so cheerful and so colourful, right now I don't think it works at night for formal events. It's that perfect level of smart casual dress, especially when you consider the silver tone and the antique silver tone hardware. I picked up my Gucci Blooms Dionysus from Gucci's hometown city of Florence in Italy. I managed to get a tax back for 15% off, which is still a significant price to pay. As much as I adore the design and quality, I have to admit that I find the styling options slightly limited, and I do feel some slight discomfort when I am carrying this bag. So for those two reasons, I feel that I'm not getting my full money's worth. So it looks like I'm really harsh, aren't I? I have no regrets adding this bag to my collection, but I have to admit, in order for me to bring it out a lot more and really get every dollar's worth, I kind of have to change the way I usually style, and that's not always achievable. For those of you who've watched my Chanel collection review video, you'll know that originally I found this backpack ugly, but it was Ariana Grande's persistent styling of this bag plus a super cool old Japanese lady sporting it that convinced me I had to have it. I bought this backpack just when backpacks were picking up as a trend again, and I love that it's the petite size, yet it's vintage Chanel, so it's really elegant, and ultimately it's just this chubby little backpack that's really playful and really cute. This bag is over 20 years old, so the glossiness of the lambskin leather is testament to the quality of vintage Chanel. Unfortunately, the 24 karat gold plating is starting to wear off the solid brass, but my reason for not giving this bag a full score is because I'm a little bit concerned about the design where the heavy straps connect to the bag body. I find that it looks a little bit flimsy, and naturally this leather connection would strain over time, so I'm just a bit scared about how that will hold up. The downside with backpacks is that you can't really protect them in a crowded place. You know, if people are brushing past you, or you accidentally reverse this bag into something. But ultimately, it is the most comfortable way to carry a bag around. The weight becomes invisible. You also have the option of carrying one or both straps just on a single shoulder for ease of access. Even though it looks super petite and compact, it can actually fit my water bottle, my cardigan. You can check this all out in my What Fits Inside My Chanel Bags review. You might think that backpacks only work casually, but because it's Chanel, it's a really cool alternative to the handbags you typically see for smart casual. I don't think I could pull this off in a formal environment though. I'm just not quirky enough, but maybe you are. I love how as a front view the straps look really decorative, and you have extra styling flexibility because you can't even see the bag. So normally if you have a dress that's maybe a bit too loud and it could clash slightly with the bag or compete with it, I feel like here with backpacks you've got extra freedom to wear what you want to wear. As I mentioned in my Chanel bag collection review video, I did manage to score this bag in near perfect condition for a very good price, so I really do believe that I've gotten my money's worth of use out of it. Even though it's got the gold hardware and the iconic diamante pattern, it's not too formal for me to take to the shops or the park, and yet it's elegant enough for me to pair with heels and wear to a fancy event while looking effortless when I do it. This is going to be one of my recaps which is purely positive. I feel that the casual yet chic style of this vintage backpack suits me really well. It's practical and it's also one of a kind, so I don't feel like a carbon copy of everyone else, which is unfortunately the way I do feel with the Chanel double flap. Alright, I am cheating a little bit. Furla is not a luxury label, but I have so much love for my candy bag that it serves a very unique role in my collection. Shape-wise, it's very similar to the LV Speedy. It's a very eye-catching material, PVC. It's tri-color, so it's packed with personality, and it's waterproof. So this is my go-to bag whenever the weather looks problematic. Plus it's a bag you can bring to the beach, you can put it on the grass if you're having a picnic, you can rinse it when it gets dirty. So isn't that everyone's dream come true? I've had this bag for 5 years, and because of the lower price tag, I don't baby it at all. I put it on the ground, I shove it around, it's been through torrential rain, and as you can see, there's not a single mark, stain or scratch on it. The only issue I've had, which I also read online before I purchased it, was that I have a tiny rip in the corner of the PVC near the zipper. I'm going to keep an eye on this because the last thing I want is for this rip to expand, which could affect the nearby stitching. So only for that reason, this bag doesn't get a perfect score. As much as I adore the fact that this bag is invincible, I have to admit I do find it frustrating that I can't fully utilize the volume of the bag. Even if I pack it half full, it becomes quite heavy, and it also causes the entire bag to sag. To best maximize its lifespan, I try to pack it light. And as a result, if I want to bring with me a water bottle or an umbrella or a jacket, I just end up holding it in my spare hand, which sounds ridiculous. Plus, even though the zipper runs the full length of the bag, the stiff PVC is quite difficult to navigate. So if you're trying to put anything in that's not slim, you're going to have a bit of a difficult time. It's because of this prying open of the bag and cramming things in that I believe has led to that tear in the corner next to the zipper. So it's essentially a design flaw. I am not shy about colours, and since this is my only tri-colour bag, I love how much bold character it has. Black orange coffee is a surprising combination that actually works perfectly well with neutral outfits. The glossy PVC works very much like patent leather. It keeps the bag looking new and it's really eye-catching. Compared to candy bags, which are a single colour tone, I feel that the tricolour helps to break up the sheer size of the bag, and it also adds a layer of elegance so you can be taken a little bit more seriously. It's a fun, unusual bag that demands attention in casual and smart casual events, but once you get a bit more formal, it can look a bit comical and a bit tacky, so you would need to switch out. I managed to buy this bag for about 40% off recommended retail price, and for what I paid, I have totally gotten my money's worth. This bag has served me dutifully for 5 years, and I'm confident that even with the rip at the corner of the zipper, it will continue to be my go-to bag for poor weather conditions or when I want to add a pop of happiness to my outfit. A fair score for an affordable, unusual and reliable bag that injects a lot of personality. When you Google Prada, there are so many articles that make me super sad and say the brand is washed up. So for a long time, I wondered whether I should even add Prada to my collection. Some find the bag designs conventional and boring, but I actually really enjoy the minimal branding, which is really pronounced, and the classic simplicity. It's no secret that Prada has major quality issues, and there are so many fake Prada bags that it really cheapens the brand's image. So I would never pay full price for one of their bags. However, an opportunity came up where I was able to score this bag in near mint condition pre-loved for quite a good price. Since it's nude, it is a wardrobe essential, and because I currently don't own a bag of this shade, I decided to go for it. Okay, it's not a good start, but when I received this bag, all the gold hardware was tarnished. The zipper was the worst. There was no gold on it at all. It felt rusted and it was almost impossible to open and close. Here is a photo of the tarnishing that's on the shoulder clasp, which I haven't yet replaced, so you get somewhat of an idea. I'll go into the full details in my future dedicated bag review on this, but Prada replaced all the hardware that you can see here very quickly and for a very small fee. So it almost feels like the company runs on a business model of having their expensive bags just fall apart on you, and that's not meant to be normal. This bag is 5 years old. I don't see any issues with the Saffiano leather, although the stiff leather does tend to soften over time, and as a result, it has formed the habit of a few bulges here and there, which even though I stuffed this bag, it's very difficult to remove that look entirely. The tapered profile and classic feminine shape makes this bag somewhat reminiscent of my Louis Vuitton Alma BB. It even comes with the detachable shoulder straps, although I don't tend to use these because it makes the elegant bag look casual, and on my height it's just not a good fit. The longer handles means the bag is really comfortable off your arm. While the majority of my luxury bags are all heavy because of the quality of the materials involved, this bag is super light. And of course that doesn't help with the issues of quality I've mentioned earlier, because really what are you paying for here aside from the brand name? But it does mean that it makes the bag really comfortable to use. It fits far beyond my essentials to everything I would need and want, and I can last a full day with this full bag and not complain too much, which is quite unusual compared to me doing that with my other bags. Also, the leather is quite durable, so it's something you don't need a baby, you can just focus on what it is you need to do. As a neutral tone bag, there really isn't any outfit that it can't complement. Okay, maybe white or beige, because then you might look a little bit washed out. The size doesn't overwhelm my frame, the silhouette is timeless, the gold hardware and the iconic Prada logo has class, but ultimately it's a bag that's designed to complement your outfit and not compete. Since I love colors, sometimes my clothes can be quite bright, so a nude, understated but elegant bag is the perfect companion. I find that the boxy tote is a bit working woman and quite executive, especially if you're going on dates. So I personally am glad that I got the luxe model where the soft curves make it suitable for day and night. Brand new Prada bags cost upwards of $2,500, but I was able to grab this bag for $1,000. For that price, I totally get my use out of it because it does go with 99% of what I own, and it's also easy and comfortable to take out. If you pay the full price, you're going to be a lot more frustrated by the quality issues such as the poor hardware. However, in terms of styling, your Prada should be easy. Just keep in mind that I personally feel that the boxy totes have a bit of a daytime work feel to it. Overall, I'm deducting points for the absence of luxury, which you get with brands like Chanel, Gucci, Hermes. It's practical, suitable for regular daily use, but aside from the brand name, there's nothing indulgent about the feel or the make of the bag, so you gotta question what you're paying for. For those of you who've watched my Chanel collection review video, you'll know that I fell in love with this bag. It captures me. It's classy and elegant, bold and unique. It's a vintage bag that's over 20 years old, yet the state of the caviar leather and the gold hardware is near perfect. But for those of you who've watched my What Fits Inside Chanel bag video, you'll know that this is actually one of the least used pieces in my wardrobe. So today let's look at the pros and cons and see how it stacks. Vintage Chanel is legendary among collectors and far beyond what you can buy from the brand today. I think the condition of this bag, more than 20 years on, clearly speaks for itself in terms of the quality. All my Chanel bags have solid brass chain straps, but it's especially here because of the chunky size and the extra length that the weight is quite significant. I do get shoulder pains from this bag, and like my Furla candy, I only ever carry it half full because otherwise I can't stand the weight of it. It does look beautiful underneath your shoulder, and I personally have never worn this bag as a single chain at my hips. Since it's quite a large bag, I feel that that's quite disproportionate on my frame, especially when I wear the bag lower. Overall, I do give this bag an okay score because the caviar leather is scratch resistant and is durable, so when I take this bag out, I don't worry too much about it. I can enjoy myself. You would think that black and gold go with everything, but here the giant CCs are so bold and stately that it's complete overkill if you're dressed casually, and the dark sheer size of this bag makes it too bulky for the night, so you end up with a very narrow window of styling opportunities. For me, that's smart casual and mostly daytime affairs. Last year, I checked the price of this bag online and it was close to $5,000. So I'm really glad I was able to grab this bag mint condition for about half that price. From that perspective, I don't mind so much that I rarely get to use it, because when I do finally find the perfect opportunity to bring it out, it is the most amazing, elegant glam statement, and it gives me a very unique identity. So unlike my Chanel double flat, where I feel like every other girl who's sporting it, this bag makes me feel uniquely me. Again, as much as I have an emotional connection with this bag, it does fall short in terms of matching my lifestyle and granting styling flexibility. So ultimately, this one is more for the display shelf rather than being actively on my arm. So for those of you who've watched my Hermes Birkin review video and my how to grab a Birkin in Paris video, you'll know that I picked up this beautiful bag at the Paris flagship store late last year. It is unfortunately not the size nor the color that I wanted, but I still feel incredibly honored to have been offered this, and it has a very unique spot in my collection to one day be passed on to my children and my grandchildren. One problem with owning the Birkin is that you start to see every other luxury bag as being spat out by a machine, because here you can really appreciate the artisan's craft and that a hand has placed every single one of these stitches. The leather catches the light, it's scratch resistant, yet it's thick and indulgent. It feels spongy underneath your fingertips. The hardware is perfect. It really does live up to its reputation. I can't fault it in any way. As a double leather lined bag, I knew that it was going to be heavy, so that's why I requested the smaller sizes of 25 and 30 so that I would have an easier time. Instead, I was offered 35, which is the most classic size, but even with a few basic essentials, it's a serious weight. Also because you have to carry it by hand or carry it off your arm. The inbuilt accessories are iconic and they're gorgeous, but truthfully they're a hassle and they're always in the way when you just want to quickly use your bag. The Togo leather is one of the more low maintenance options, but still, because this bag is worth more than 10k, it doesn't rest easy on your conscience. So ultimately, I keep this bag a lot in storage because I'm afraid to damage it when I bring it out. Like my Chanel Vintage Jumbo, black and gold go with everything. But here the significant size of the bag, especially on my frame, makes it more suitable for casual and smart casual events. I personally find the 35 perfect for tall people, but on me it's a little large, so that's why I'm giving it an okay score. It's crazy to think that instead of this one bag, you could have bought 3 or 4 bags by Gucci, LV, Prada, Givenchy. However, if you have time to spare and you're not in a rush to resell, you could end up selling your bag for 2 or 3 times what you paid. So from that perspective, even though it's a bag that will spend a lot of its time hidden away on your shelf, you can't lose money on it. It's a solid investment piece because it's so hard to get your hands on it and it's so rare. Overall, my Birkin gets a somewhat low rating because even though it holds its value and it's a proud piece within my collection, I don't use it much. It's also because I live in Australia where Birkins are just overkill for what you wear during the day, for your events, and it's too large for the night. So comparing total scores across all the bags, it looks like the ranking comes in at: first place goes to the LV Alma BB and Chanel Vintage Backpack. Second place is a tie between the Chanel Double Flap and Furla Candy Bag. Third place goes to the Gucci Blooms Dionysus and the Prada Saffiano Luxe. Fourth place is the Balenciaga Lady. Fifth place, so it's not looking as good now, are the Hermes Birkin and Chanel Vintage Jumbo, my larger bags. And last place goes to the clutch we started with, Alexander McQueen Rose Knuckleduster. I guess it shows that a practical bag which you can use a lot, which didn't cost an arm and a leg to buy, is ultimately where the satisfaction lies. Plus, if the bag's size and weight are comfortable on your frame, you'll end up valuing it more than a bag which you simply considered to be beautiful design-wise. So everyone, we're almost at the end of this ridiculously long video. All I have left is to share with you my wish list. By now it should be pretty clear that I'm desperate, absolutely desperate for a mid-tone brown bag, what I would call camel. At the same time, I want to add the Hermes Kelly to my collection, so my dream come true would be a gold Kelly. Worst case scenario, I'm happy to take any small Kelly in any color, bright or neutral, and I'll just have to figure out what my camel tone bag is later on. For my second bag, I want to add metallic leather to the collection. I've thought about this a lot, and so far I'm eyeing the Bulgari Serpenti handbag in gold. What do you think? For a while, I was considering their Nicholas Kirkwood collaborations, but I've decided that it makes a bag too busy and it sort of takes away the simple, elegant timelessness of the original design. The Dior diorama bag is of course a major metallic favorite, but because it's boxy, I'm just not fond of it. And in the same way, because Chanel Boy is boxy, that's why I've never been tempted to add that very iconic bag to my collection. Some collectors have their favorite brands and they like to collect as many items as possible from that brand. But with me, I like to dabble. I like to own a little bit of everything so I can really understand the strengths and the weaknesses of each label. So from that perspective, for my third bag, I really want to grab Bottega Veneta. So far, I'm thinking of the Olympia knot bag. I love the woven texture, which is a look I currently don't own, along with the rustic knot hardware. So again, tell me what you think. So everyone, thank you so much for joining me again today. It definitely was not a short video. Plus, I apologize for some of the acoustics. It's summer in Australia here. We've got crazy cicadas outside drumming along in the background. Next month, I want to address another highly requested and long overdue topic, which is bag care. How to store your bags, how to clean them, how to keep them looking their best. So I hope you guys have a great month. I'll see you again soon.